For IMSA's 50th season, Michelin has the honour of being the sole tyre provider for the entire paddock.
Just to put a number on things, we brought something to the order, along the order of 4,900 tires just for the Roar before the 24. For the Rolex 24, we'll have over 10,000.
That tread will coat every inch of the 3.5-mile blend of Daytona's stock car oval and unique road course features. Almost as daunting as the 24 hours.
The enormity of this event cannot be overstated. The engines are fired. It's time to compete.
It's definitely our Super Bowl. There's just so much adrenaline going that you're going to start this huge event, and it's hard to kind of calm down and save your mental energy.
24 hours worth of battle.
And now the green flag is waving.
Green flag, all rolling.
The hard part is reminding yourself at the start that you're in the first 2-3 minutes of a 24-hour race.
Unbelievable. He gets elbowed out of the way.
This is being raced at the moment as if it was a sprint race.
Cars are everywhere and everybody's fanned out and people are dropping wheels and there's dust flying.
Oh, and off goes the leader.
Welcome to modern day endurance racing. It's going to be like this for the next 23 hours and 15 minutes. There is no time to ease off.
You got a gun to your throat the whole time. It's flat out.
Whoa, there's going to be a little rub here. Oh, big rub, and he's gone.
Where's the bloody marshal?
It's very easy to just get shuffled around by people that know what they're doing.
Look how tightly packed they are. Oh, here.
There's so much happening where people are flying off the track or crashing into each other or catching fire, for example. So staying out of trouble is a big thing during this race.
I was almost sure he didn't see me.
I tell you something, it keeps you busy on the wheel. Every time you're passing a GT, you know, you have to be on the top of the wheel because that's part of the game.
Boy, oh boy, talk about threading the needle.
The bus stop's definitely the riskiest spot on the track.
Oh, boom, right in front of the 3 leaders.
There are so many things going on in 24-hour race. You know, you have your lows, you have your highs, and you have to keep a state of mind.
At night, the sun goes down, and that's when a lot of the best racing actually happens, is at night.
They'll go 3 wide.
I love the night. I think when you're not used to it, it can be extremely intimidating. Bright lights, and you can't tell if they're 5 feet behind you or 500 feet behind you. It can be very stressful mentally.
Half the time here it usually rains. That throws another dynamic in it.
This is substantial rain now.
You're doing several stints within 24 hours, so you need to keep your energy level really high.
Your body kind of gets thrown off and you begin to get hungry when you don't know if you're supposed to be hungry or not.
Normally you try to eat a bit of pasta, not too heavy food, you know, I don't eat burgers or fries or something.
I smelt someone having a barbecue in turn 4 at 3 a.m. It's like, that's cool. Where else does that happen?
I hate that knock on my door at 3 in the morning on my bus to say, hey, wake up, but you got to snap into it and be ready to go, no matter how tired your body is.
So for an engineer, there's no sleep. We have a good espresso machine in the back, that helps.
The crew sleeps a little bit, but in the chairs in the pit lane.
You look at your crew guys and they're sleeping on tires, they're sleeping on the ground, or any place they can catch a minute of sleep.
The sun climbing up the horizon in Daytona. Daylight.
When it's morning, you know that you survived the night. That's when actually the race starts.
Execute, don't make any mistakes.
You know, you might not have the speed, but you could have the endurance.
They've been losing water throughout the night.
That car has now gone behind the wall.
For all the cars that survived to the 21st, 22nd hour of the race, I think from that point onwards, it's game time and you need to show all the others exactly what you have.
And he is on his way to victory circle.
When you win, somehow the adrenaline and the emotion takes over and it's as if you're as fresh as the first hour.
And Ryan Briscoe, they're going to win the Rolex 24.
When you can finally cross the line in first place, it's just
An emotional moment.
They will celebrate the victory.
Oh, then I'm just like a child. Tears are flying everywhere. I'm just an embarrassment. But I don't really care. It's what I like doing, and the checkered flag is everything. It's everything.
If the green box is coming out with that cool, lovely Rolex logo, that you've done something good, right?
Here it is.
You know, winning a 24-hour race is very difficult to start with. Winning the Rolex 24 at Daytona and getting the watch, it's quite an achievement.
Exactly 50 years ago, IMSA was born from the vision of John and Peggy Bishop, together with Bill France Sr. The world of sports was struggling with identity, whether to go pro or remain amateur. John Bishop was executive director of the Sports Car Club of America, and he wasn't happy with the direction of his sport. France, the founder of NASCAR, wanted to bring the same level of professionalism to sports car racing. IMSA held its first event in October 1969, Formula Fords on the 3/4 mile infield oval at Pocono Raceway. The event was well received, but the series had greater ambitions. Bishop needed a star driver with the credibility and glamour to push IMSA into the limelight. And then along came Peter Gregg. He was a Harvard graduate and he had served in naval intelligence. And he was a winner, especially at Daytona, where his immaculate red, white, and blue Porsche 911 inspired admiration and fear. Peter's co-driver, Hurley Haywood, was unassuming when out of the car. In it, he was brilliant. He remains one of 2 drivers to have won 5 times. The other is Scott Pruitt, the quiet Californian whose 60 IMSA wins are also a record, and who also achieved his staggering success without ever drawing much attention to himself. Brian Redman proved his capacity for endurance in persevering through 3 horrific crashes. An unsung hero, he won the IMSA championship in 1981. Derek Bell was IMSA's international star in the 80s, a 3-time winner at Le Mans. These drivers drove Chevrolets, BMWs, Fords, Ferraris, but most of the winners drove Porsches. At Daytona, Porsche has 22 wins. The other manufacturers together have 16. The drivers of 50 years ago would barely recognize the feel and sheer speed of today's machines, developed in wind tunnels and simulators with aerodynamics that make them look more like low-flying birds. What has not changed is a driver's will to win. Endurance racing puts that will to a unique test. You need speed and consistency, mental toughness, and physical strength. The list of IMSA champions over the past 50 years speaks to the demands of that test.